Hello, here's Energica's Experia. It's new for 2022, it'll be in shops end of September, early October. And it's the first of its kind, really, for EV motorcycling. This touring bike, they call it a green tourer. So this would be easy to call it a sports tourer. You've got Livewire, well that's the sub-brand of Harley Davidson, of course. What else? Zero, they've got about half a dozen bikes in their range. SRF comes about as close as it gets. But yeah, this is about adventure biking mixed with EV. Adventure bike sales are not exactly dwindling, are they? EV sales are on the up, especially with scooters. It uses the same sort of twin headlights, the same kind of look and appearance as some of the other bikes in the range, on the Energica range, the Ava, the Rebel, the Ego. But yeah, so while the majority of the old motorcycling fraternity is still hung up about range and charge times and costs, the price, nearly £28,000 for this. It's available in one colour only, this. This is a pre-production model, hence the sort of the gaps in there, and the fairings will be lacquered over, so there's actually stickers on the top of the fairing here, but they'll be underneath paint once the proper production models are in force. But it's got a brand new battery, it's got a brand new motor, increased capacity of the battery, lower weight at the same time, so low centre of gravity, so they've changed it. 22.5 kilowatt hours. They've got a brand new frame. The inverter's now at the back. There's the motor down there, look, the gold one, bronze. Tucked in behind that Sachs monoshop. Chain driven. 17-inch front and rear tyres, wheels. Pirelli Scorpion Trail 2 tyres. Yeah, and then the battery itself is all the way down there. Come on then, let's jump on board. Here's the cockpit of the new Energica Experia with your adjustable screen. But I just want to take you through the settings here on the menu. So you've got your battery remaining 97%. You've got 212 kilometre range approximately. I'm in traction control setting number 2. This gives you your speed and essentially kind of your revs. This is the engine braking section. Your trip. You've got your 4 sections of the menu, and then these two are your braking and settings, like your engine braking or your regen, but also this is your mode, your riding mode. So I'm just going to flick, wait, now press that button. Yeah, so we can press that button again and we can go through the different, so you can see this changes here from braking 1 through 3, 2, 1 and then off. I'm going to leave mine in, let's say 2, I think. So we'll set that and then we'll go across to, this is riding mode. You've got sport, urban, then you've got 3 customizable, wet and eco. Again, I'll leave mine in sport. Set that, right, oh, right, we're off. Okay, so that means now I've got to flick that up, press that, and we're good to go. The green is good to go. So here we go. Beautiful. Check this view. Gorgeous. Welcome to the Dolomites. This is the mountain range in northeast Italy. It is spectacular. I've never seen scenery like this. Pretty cool. So we're up towards the Austrian border, and there's a lot of motorcycles and cyclists who make the most of this area. It is beautiful. It's, if you don't like your hairpin bends and your climbs and your descents, then this ain't the place for you, because it is hairpin, 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 hairpin. So yeah, a new segment for Energica. This is the first touring bike in their range, and it's brought about, it's allowed them to develop a brand new chassis, so they're going to do frame. It's narrower and it's different to the previous versions. It's got a separate subframe. and they've also been able to redevelop or install a newly developed motor and battery. So the battery is bigger, but it's lighter, so it lasts longer, and the claim is that it offers the longest range of any production EV bike, depending on how you ride it, of course. But yeah, so the claim is anywhere between around 150 up to about 260 miles, I believe. So this one's got, I think it's 102 horsepower, and then around about sort of 90 foot-pounds torque at peak. This new motor is counter-rotating, so it spins up to about 13,000 RPM, whereas the previous one was about 10.5. Hopefully these big Brembo brakes work nicely, and you've got the advantage of regen, so as soon as you're off the throttle you can feel it. It's almost like something's whirring or rubbing. Oh, clearly something is whirring, but you can kind of feel it between your feet. So the proximity of the motor and what it's doing to kind of regenerate energy and charge back into the battery. So as you come off the throttle at a higher, so it glows blue, so it's obviously doing something, and then you can feel it down in between. Well, I can feel it down in between my feet. So actually the chassis is nice and narrow. It's a very comfortable seating position. Can you see how narrow my knees are? And then where the traditional fuel tank would be is slightly higher, slightly wider up top. So they've already talked about the rearrangement of the battery and motor and the converter. So they've got a different layout. But they've also got, they've slightly changed the weight and where it sits, where the weight sits in the bike to optimise, that's the word, to optimise the riding experience. So you've got big Brembo master cylinder, you've got twin 330mm discs on the front, so you've got plenty of braking power, but you also got that engine regeneration, the engine braking. I keep calling it engine, but you know what I mean. So as soon as you're off the throttle, that regen, it kind of helps you slow, a bit like the traditional engine braking of a twin or a triple or a four-cylinder machine. They have different characteristics, and of course you can dial the different characteristics in here with the different modes. And then you can just, what you do is when you come to a stop, you make sure you're nice and you're not going to fall off, you just flick it out there with the master switch, and that takes that green away. So now you can do that and there's nothing. Flick it back on, pull the brake, click it once, and you're good to go. So you're now live. See? Whoa. So what are the petrol-powered rivals to this? I guess you're looking at Multistrada, but then that's 160 horsepower, and same for the Super Adventure, from KTM. So there's a big power differential there, but of course you've got a lot of power available at low revs, you've got all that torque as well. So in terms of performance, 0 to 60, 0 to 100 probably, you're going to be very equal. If not, this the electric power is going to win. There's probably more electronics, things like heated seats and the radar, cruise control, more settings available on the Ducati and the KTM. I want to talk about Tracer 9 from Yamaha, and I want to talk about the BMW S1000 XR. Both similar in terms of their frontal appearance, their looks at the front with the twin headlights and that pointy fairing. Even this grey colour scheme on the bike is similar to that S1000 XR. So it'd be interesting when we go, if we took it head to head against those rivals, just to see in terms of range, comfort, weight. Probably it'll be good to involve a pillion as well and luggage, because this is pitched as a touring bike, and you need to make sure that if that's your bag, then you're going to be spending, if you are going to be spending 28,000 pounds on it, you need to make sure that it's going to do everything you need versus the ICE competition. But wow, how beautiful is the scenery! Ideal for testing motorbikes. I tell you what, thankfully the brakes on this thing, and considering the weight that it's pulling about or trying to stop, and that's me included, what am I, like 90 k's plus the 260, 270 of the bike. Yeah, thankfully those brakes are pretty good. They have to be. And with this, the B2 setting, that's ideal. As soon as you're off the throttle, you can feel it. It's not snatchy. It's nice. Yes, it pushes you forward, but then that, offers you the understanding that there is something happening mechanically. This lack of gears makes it so much easier. So you're going to worry about whether you're in first or second or blah blah blah, slip in the clutch, whatever. You're just in and out, away you go. Look at that power up the hill, lovely that. Keeps on pulling as well, really, really nice. What was I saying? Oh yeah, 77%. So yeah, so I've lost about 20% of the charge so far. But then it has been kind of on, off, as you can tell. So flat out acceleration up the hill, and then hard braking into the hairpins, and then blah, blah, blah. So it's kind of extreme testing in terms of battery charge or range. Where are we at the moment? We've covered nearly 46 kilometers. What's that, about just under 30 miles, isn't it? Yeah, so respectable, and all of it's in a sports mode. Joining me now is Giampaolo Testoni, who's the Chief Technical Officer of Energica, correct?
Correct.
I got it right. Bonus points for me. Giampaolo, I'll leave you with the microphone. I will come this side of the camera, and I want to ask you a little bit more about the new developments with your Experia model. Starting perhaps with the new chassis, so the new frame.
Yeah.
It's a two-part frame, correct?
Correct.
New materials?
Yeah, we kept, let's say, a tubular trellis frame in the front, plus an aluminium side part, and a part joining the two side parts in aluminium. That is also being the upper connection to the rear swing arm. So. We have a kind of hybrid solution between the two. It's very useful for leveraging the stiffness that you want to achieve, even the shape you want to have. So one of the most important points for this new bike was to have it very slim. The legs have to be very, very comfortable. Knees have to be very close to the bike and have a very slim position in this side, so that we could leverage also smaller people with shorter legs to reach the floor in a very comfortable way. Then of course the cast part in aluminium can follow the design you want, while the tubes have some kind of restrictions on corners that you can make and everything else. So we decided to keep the stiff part in the front and a more, let's say, useful and designable part in the central part.
And of
So-
course, that all houses the new battery, new motor.
Absolutely. It's almost a complete new platform. We started with the total layout of the motorcycles, how the key points that we wanted to achieve for this kind of bike and for eventual future bikes that will be built on the same platform. So we take, let's say, the geometry, the most critical points, so pivot, where the wheels would be, how sitting position and so on, and then we started to design battery motor, and the frame went very close to them because it was a very important point to meet all the requirements that were written previously on paper. So this new motor is a smaller motor compared to the previous EMC. It's still an EMC. That means that it's an Energica Marvel co-engineered motor. We have designed it together with them. It's a smaller diameter, lower inertia. It has been placed in a lower position to have a better weight distribution of the bike. We try to move as much weight as possible to the center and to the center of the bike, let's say where the rider is, in order to make the bike as more neutral as possible when riding it. It is counter-rotating, so it's rotating in the opposite direction of the wheels, and this helps the overall inertia of the motorcycle to be lower as possible, so giving a nicer rideability of the bike, less force needed when braking, so less pushing from the rear while braking, and entry corner is much better improved in this case.
Well, and it spins up a little bit faster, doesn't it, from your old one?
Yes, this one can. Now it's spinning up to maximum 12,000, almost 13,000. It could spin even higher, but we decided to use this as a efficiency map to reach the best performance between performance of the bike and efficiency, so range of the full motorcycle. So this means we have still a lot of room to play with, but this is designed for this exact kind of motorcycle.
And the battery too is brand new, correct? You've got
Yeah.
a larger capacity.
Yeah, larger capacity. So we added some capacity. The chemistry is slightly different from the previous one. So we added approximately 1 kilowatt hour more. The design is completely different. So we have a different shape, and again, the positioning is aimed to bring as much weight as possible close to the center of the bike where the rider is. It's shorter, so again, for moving more weight to the back of the bike.
It sort of stands upright, is that right?
Yes, it goes from top here down to the bottom, and it has a kind of tree shape if you look it from the front.
And the type of range that this battery can achieve on this, with this setup, with this motor, with these riding modes, it's the phrase that you used earlier was the longest range for a production model, is that right?
Absolutely, yes. We are the longest range electric motorcycle in production. Honestly, we were already, even with the other models, but we increased it again. And moreover, we worked highly on efficiency of every single component of the bike. So we worked extremely hard on the weight distribution and extremely hard on the efficiency of the overall motorcycle. This means weight and efficiency, both electric and mechanical, of every component of the bike. This to allow us to have less consumption and, of course, higher range.
And charge times, you talked earlier in the presentation about 0 to 80% in 40 minutes.
40 minutes,
Yeah,
correct,
that's
yes.
you say a level 3 charge.
Yes, it's a DC fast charging that is positioned on the side of the bike.
Right, can we
So
see
yeah,
find
you just lift this side panel,
Easy as
and you
that.
have the combo CCS. So this is for slow charging, and this is for fast charging.
So when you get a device,
You just plug it
don't you?
directly, yes, correct. And then you don't need any keys to open it, you don't need anything else to do, so you just plug, close, and ride. Very, very easy, yes.
And Pero, thank you so much for your time. It's been
Thank you.
fascinating.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.